Welcome to another Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric and Vlogmas 2022. It is now December 8th, as my little calendar page here shows. And I am kind of glad that it is the 8th because I'm noticing that my bobbin is getting on the full side. I calculated at the beginning of this that I'd probably have to change bobbins every 8th day. So that will likely give me, depending on how I decide to ply, a 3-ply when I'm done. As you can see, I have my capelet on today because it is a little chilly. Before I get into spinning and pulling stuff out of the basket and out of my little jar, I wanted to share with those of you that have been following my channel for a while, my Shetland is now spun, plied, and I was able to get started on a 3rd capelet. Oh, and I thought about, I love touching this. It is nice and soft and it's wonderful. And I thought about maybe over dyeing it once it was done, but I really am enjoying the natural color of it. And I have one ball of fiber that is slightly darker than this that I separated out when I was getting ready to spin. I separated out all of the little bit darker areas of the fleece so that I could spin it by themselves, and I was really glad that I did, because when I finished spinning it and plying it and then taking it into a good soak, I discovered that yes, it is noticeably darker, in such a way that if I put a band of it in my capelet, I think it will show up. So we'll see how it knits up and what I end up doing, but I suspect this will stay in natural color. And I'll have to find another fiber to make into a more colorful capelet. Of course, I have this capelet that is very colorful, and it is great on a day like today. We've had a few days of rain, and it's made it damp. So while it's not necessarily cold right now, again, the dampness makes me a little achy, so I put on the capelet and I don't notice it. But let's get into the spinning. So closing my eyes and digging in and pulling out a bag of fiber. Yesterday, when my husband came and saw my wheel, he exclaimed, "Oh my goodness, yellow!" So today I have a little different chocolate. This is a Lindt. I have no idea what flavor it is. And I have another of the Ritter chocolate. My husband, I'm getting tongue-tied. My son brought my husband and I a bunch of extra chocolates. I think I mentioned that in yesterday's vlog. And some were definitely chocolates that my husband was going to love, and then there were the rest that I like. And it has been wonderful to have it, because I now know I have enough chocolate in my house to make it through Christmas and potentially to Valentine's Day. According to my little card, I have evergreen, but this time evergreen in the exhaust. And I don't know if I've actually spun evergreen. I don't remember from day to day what I've spun, but this is definitely, with like a lot of the greens, the green-ish color went into the original batch of fiber, and the exhaust is a lot of blue. But I don't mind. I do have all the little cards, so I could go back and look at them. I have a little jar that hangs on my wheel. I believe it's for spinning flax. But I just use it to collect sometimes debris, and in this case, all my little cards. But yeah, I think I'm confusing evergreen with spearmint. I think I've spun the spearmint, but not the evergreen. Either way, okay, let's just move the wheel just a tiny. Nope, that's going to touch. Every day, it's like, you know, get everything set back up. Okay, that's in the right spot. Let's just do that. Maybe that gives me a little more space today. Maybe it's a big breakfast or something like that. Oops, something just slid. Oh, there we go. Okay, and now I can't, you know, get this close to my wheel. But and definitely the bobbin is getting full, so I'm adjusting. This, so I was going to say, every day when I get the wheel set up again, and the way I turn the wheel, my second camera is going to catch, but you won't be able to see. There we go. Let's try that. Second camera definitely will catch the spinning, but let's have it so you can see it from the primary camera. But every day when I get it set up, I have I admit I have tape on the floor. I have placed tape down to mark where everything goes so that I can try to get everything back in a comfortable position. So gotta make vlogging a little easier, right? So if company does come by this Christmas season, they may see tape on the floor. The kittens think the tape on the floor is interesting, at least for a day or so, but then they gave up on it. They decided it wasn't a bug. So there was something else I was just going to mention, and I have lost the thought. It might come to me. But I am recovering from having my son here and all the excitement. Really am enjoying the spin. And that reminds me what I was going to mention. Had a thought pop into my head just as we started recording. When I adjusted the tension, I wanted to mention, for those of you with an eagle eye, the camera doesn't show it right now, but you may have seen it in other shots, and it shows up certainly in the spinning with the camera set up to watch the wheel. This is a Kromsky Minstrel, and it is set up to have double drive and Scotch tension. And there are times when I'm tired that I try to adjust the Scotch tension. I'm like, that's not going to work because it's not set up for that right now. I prefer to spin with the double drive. I like to ply with the Scotch tension. And since this is my daughter's wheel, it's set up for both, so that, you know, because she doesn't have a wheel designated just for plying. But I am enjoying having this yellow on the bobbin, and it's wonderful because I was afraid we were going to go a full 8 days without a yellow showing up. And for tomorrow, I will need to change out bobbins. I can't remember where I was reading something on social media, and somebody had Kromsky Minstrel that they were spinning on. I can't remember what the comment was, but it was like, I always love when I see people mention, you know, the same wheels. I think that's probably the case for a lot of spinners. We are proud of our wheels. We have I think we develop a bit of a loyalty to our wheels and a little bias. And I am certainly Kromsky household, mainly because, so years ago when I first, I got my first wheel, you'll love this story. I was homeschooling my kids. Long story short, I ended up homeschooling my kids because where we lived at the time, the academic access to academic abundance was a little lacking, and my kids had some aptitude issues that I suspected were going to be problematic for the area we lived. We didn't have a lot of option other than it was a good school. It's just we didn't have a lot of option, not a lot of other amenities that you would have if you were living in a larger populated area. So, with much deliberation and I think a little bit of craziness, we decided that I would homeschool the kids, and it was the right choice for us. It was the right choice for my kids. We have many times since, we ask ourselves, did we do the right thing? Was it the right thing for the kids? And our kids even tell us it really was the correct choice for our situation. Well, fast forward to when, let's see, I think my son was 12 and my daughter was about to turn 11. And I had finally started getting some diagnosis for some of the health conditions I had. I'd been having a lot of issue with mobility, and I had run into an article that talked about how spinning had helped other people. But the big thing is that my daughter, my daughter, my daughter needed extra stimuli. She's very, very creative. So a number of things led us to the decision that I should take up spinning. The big one is that my mom, so about a year before my mom passed away, is when I really started looking into the concept of spinning. My mom was an avid knitter, but she was on a very restricted budget, and she had started using little skeins, little balls of Angora fiber to add a little bit of extra to the baby booties that she made, that she was famous for. Well, I researched, and what I discovered is about the only critter that could be fairly easily raised in our situation was Angora rabbits. And so we had looked into Angora rabbits, and about a year before my mom passed away, we ended up getting our first Angora rabbits. And my daughter, they were for my daughter, and she loved them, and she decided she wanted to breed them. And I was going to spin, once I could afford a wheel, I was going to spin Angora wool, Angora yarn for my mom. Sadly, my mom passed away before I was able to get my first spinning wheel. That spring, after my mom passed away, I bought my first Kromsky. I bought a Kromsky Sonata. And that's the story I'm trying to work towards to tell. I went online and I Googled, I'm not even sure, I'm thinking back, it was like, I Googled, I don't even remember, I did a search, and I don't know what search engine I would have used back then. It's so funny, we get in the habit of saying things now, and we're like, well, Google might not have even been around yet. Oh, before I forget, now that I bumped this, I have my earrings on from yesterday's, I finished painting them, yesterday's suggestion, I finished painting them, and I love the way they turned out. This is actually, it's two cutouts, and I'll have a picture, but they're two cutouts that, lay against each other, and oh, they're adorable. But I also made a little frosty ornament, and I keep bumping it. And between my earrings, I hear them. I think I keep bumping. I feel like I keep bumping the tree. But so as I was saying, I went online and I did a search, and I searched for really good portable spinning wheel, most popular portable spinning wheel. Now, fast forward to now, it's been, oh my goodness, it's been like 15 years since I did that search. But the Kromsky Sonata came up because, I think it's because it was a fairly new to the market, a lot of advertising, a lot of people were talking about it. So I laugh now because I know how silly my search was compared to all the different ways I could have found out about a spinning wheel. But one of the things, so I did a search, and then I was like, oh, this is not it. And I liked the idea of it. I liked the versatility of it. And I found a dealer, which just so happened to be, I always laughed for the longest time. I think there were people in Colorado, certainly, that sold wheels that I could have gone and tested out. But where I lived, and the fact that I had lots of issues that kept me at home, I always joked, my local fiber store happened to be in Kentucky, not Colorado. And it was wonderful because I bought the wheel, and then I taught myself how to spin with Angora because the big Estes Park fiber market was a few weeks away, and I didn't have any other fiber. So I taught myself how to spin over the couple weeks while I was waiting for the market. I taught myself to spin using Angora because I had tons of it. And I loved the wheel. But if we fast forward a year or two on, I can't remember, it might have been 2 years on, I had an opportunity to sit down at Kromsky Symphony, and I just utterly loved it. I fell in love with the double drive. And so the symphony joined my household. Needless to say, eventually a minstrel also joined. And as I think I've said in other vlogs about it, the minstrel came because it's a sweet little wheel, and unless I'm trying to sit here in front of a camera, it can sit straight on to my body. There's no twisting, no turning of my body. There's no trying to get comfortable, which sometimes can be the case with my symphony. But with minstrel, it's straight on, and it's just a joy to spin on for me. So we ended up getting me the minstrel because there are days when I can't spin as easily on the symphony. I do, as I said, prefer the double drive. And my Sonata, for the most part, is just the fabulous plying wheel. I leave it set up to ply. And so it's always got the jumbo bobbin on it. And yeah, it does its job. And it's so interesting because when my children got their own wheels, initially my daughter ended up getting one that was a smaller company that's currently gone out of business. But when she ended up when she moved beyond that wheel, that was a really good wheel for her to start with. When she moved beyond that wheel, she ended up choosing the Kromsky Minstrel. She liked spinning on mine better. My son, He ended up preferring the Sonata both for the way it spins. He liked that way, the comfort and feel of the wheel, but also because it is portable, it can more easily be boxed up and shipped for his different moving career travels. So, needless to say, that's how I ended up with a Kromsky household. And we are getting close to the end. I need to adjust a little bit more frequently to get everything on. We're certainly going to go over time today. Hopefully not by very much. We're getting closer to the end. I noticed that I have a little bit more neps in my exhaust fibers. I have to fidget a little bit more than with my initial fibers. And of course, we're right here at the end, and I let the fiber slip through. But yeah, so when I was carding all of this, trying to get ready for Vlogmas, I was getting a little on the tired side. By the time I reached the second group of fibers, I was getting a little tired. I was getting a few blisters on my hands, and so I noticed that whenever I'm spinning the fiber that I use to exhaust my dye baths, that it's not as smooth, it's not as quick and easy, but it's been a wonderful fiber to spin, and it definitely took color beautifully. I'm still very thrilled. This will be such an interesting skein of yarn. I really do look forward to seeing how it is in the end. And we are so close. But yes, as I started all of this discussion of the wheel, when I'm spinning on the minstrels, I sometimes forget that I'm not using the Scotch tension. My symphony will allow me to do a Scotch tension too, I believe. However, in truth, I have never set the wheel up to do so. I purchased it with a purpose in mind, and that is what it does. And we, ending there with a nep, have reached the end of that spin. So let's quickly draw today's out and see if we can get this video wrapped up. Pulling out another one. I think I've pulled more red ones than green ones. Play with clay. Oh my goodness. So this will show you really how random this is. Of all the things that I thought I would be doing today, playing with clay is not one of them. In fact, I forgot that it was in... I forgot that I'd even put it in there. So wish me luck. I'm going to go get out polymer clay and see what I can create. So I hope you've enjoyed this unwinding with fiber and fabric. I'm going to go unwind with polymer clay because I'm not right now able to do any other type of clay. And we'll see you tomorrow.